Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm here. I'm pretty munted actually tonight. I've had a fairly big day and not a particularly productive weekend in the workshop. I've done a lot of spring cleaning. Workshops starting to get a bit organised. But anyway, good day everyone. Stephen Lang, good day. Ted Rosa, hello. Go Create, hello. Richard Mayer, hello. Oh, sorry about that, I'm scrolling through. Mark Osborne, good day. Peter Nottle, hello. Old Iron Shops, g'day. Must be Chris's lunchtime. Wazza, g'day. Rustanox, hello. Hope you're feeling better. Good to see ya. JB, g'day. John Creasy, hello. The blue wrench is in the room. You better all behave. Another one. Tommy, g'day. What's happening here? You probably all saw Craig's video this week. Don't know if you did. You probably did. Anyway, anyone who did probably knows that I've got a new machine coming and it's paid for, and I'm just waiting for it to arrive in Australia. So, been trying to find some space for it. That's where our issue is, and that's what this weekend's been about. Kevin, g'day. More about it when it arrives. But if you want to know what it is, you probably should go and check out Craig's workshop in his latest video. Chris has got space for it. Yeah, I haven't got shipping money. It's one of those sort of things. But yeah, it's a grinder. So pretty excited about that. Yeah, probably I said something a couple of weeks back. Yeah, if anyone was listening. Chirpy, g'day. Hope you're doing okay too and feeling a bit better. Knackler's Workshop, good to see you. Go and check out the Knackler's Workshop. Greg Koenig, g'day. So, I haven't done much in the workshop, but we're having time out to think about this gas engine for a start. And I've been cleaning up, and I've had a bit of a purge actually, so I'm sort of feeling like there might be space for stuff. We might have a look at that in a minute. Have I imported the machine? No, it's coming through here in Forbes, which is the machinery dealer here, a bit like, I don't know what they're a bit like. But H&F, it's one of their off-the-shelf machines. John Creasy's got one. A few other people have got one. Anyway, they're all right. It's not a bad machine, and I think it'd be all right, and it's brand new, which is a first for me. It was a bit of capital, so when it gets here, we'll have a look at it, but it's going to be a couple of weeks away, I think. Hey, Maddie. What else? New chuck. Someone mentioned the new chuck. Chris says new is overrated. Yeah. We'll have a bit of a review video and we'll have a look at it. If you want really good videos on this, there's a few people that you could check out. Luis Ali in Brazil. He's got an awesome channel. Tool and Die guy, Phil Kerner, he's got a pretty good channel too. You check him out. Who else? Gwyn Donkey at um oh gosh, what's Gwyn's channel called? Someone will tell me. She's got some good videos on it too. Did I fit the chuck? Blondie Hacks is Gwyn. Yeah, Blondie Hacks. So I've sort of got big shoes to fill, but there's things that I'll be doing that a lot of people won't be doing with it perhaps too. Dave M has one too. That's right. So, new chuck. We probably should go over here and have a look at it, hey? Who says that we should have a look? How's everyone else going? You're all relieved that Mr. Pete isn't moving to Florida, I guess. I don't know where we put this. No lights over here. We didn't think this through at all. Hey, Duncan. You would think that by now I'd have somewhere to put this over here, but I don't. Team Azira, good to see ya. Bit speaky. Let's have some lights. I meant to have lights and stuff all sorted. So this is what I've done anyway. We'll pull it off, and I've really got to put this down, don't I? Hang on. It was a really good theory. Mark, very similar probably to a bowling leaning. Oh, look at this. It's probably going to fall off. Sorry about that. Am I back? I'm not winning here. That's not the answer. Hang on. There we go. So, it's not really perfect either, but it'll do. Alistair, g'day. G'day, Aid. Good to see you. Notice was in. Is Rusnak still in hospital? Maybe we could have a health update. Stream's probably lagging, Tom. Sorry. It's probably just that you live in the bush. Good to see you, chap. Let's shift some of this stuff out. Sorry, I think I may have minimized the chat window, which means that it restarts. I don't know why. Sorry about that. Jump out and jump back in if you like, and that'll fix it. I'll give you a minute. Not going to miss anything. It's come good. Thanks, Matt. Okay. Now, two prerequisites with this this chuck. I needed a chuck that had reverse jaws because the old Polish one I had didn't yet. We might do a job on that, but I'm not sure about that. We'll see how we go. Also, we need a chuck that will that'll clamp on here and won't come off. So that's sort of important too. And I've put a locking screw on there. We'll have a look at it over there on the bench. So we can unlock that here. See that Allen key went over there on the bench? That got lost. I'll put it away in a minute. Still not loose. There we go. There we go. So we've got a locking collar here. Yeah. Which clamps down on this last bit of the thread, really. I think that's about what it does if we really analyze how it works. But that's a nice tight fit on there. And this is a pretty good fit on the thread. So if we do this up, that locks on there beautifully, and it unscrews too. But if we tighten this down, that oil is out. So we've got a bearing problem here, I would think. Maybe that might be why I'm struggling to set this up properly. So if we tighten that down, we haven't got a hope of moving that. So I'm really pleased with that. That's worked remarkably well. So that's excellent. So that should be safe to reverse. However, I've done some fairly heavy threading with the four-jaw, which has got a bit more inertia, and reversed it forward and back, and it's never really given a problem. So I don't think it's a huge issue to start with, but this will stop the crazy. But there's not a big gap between this and the thread, and there's not a big gap between the collar and the back plate. So it doesn't take a lot of force on an M6 screw to squeeze that down so that it actually locks, and it's pretty good. But I don't think that's coming off there. So how much run out? Depends. Chinese chuck. I've marked one jaw here, and if I tighten it up with this jaw, we're getting about a bit less than a thou, something like that. 0.025 of a millimeter. So that's not too shabby. If I tighten it up with any of the other jaws, like any of the other gears, it's up to about 5 thou out, so 4 or 5 thou. However, I need to adjust these bearings because they've been done for a while. So what you're finding is that we've probably got a little bit of deflection like this as well. So It's difficult. Casual Steel, good day. So yeah, I'll probably engrave something nice on here so that it looks better than just a center punch. But this tends to, if I lock it down on here, I've got pretty close. Like this is really good. But I would say that the scroll's a little bit small in the chuck. And probably you could fix it. And it might be a bit closer all the way around, but I'm going to live with it. Probably take it apart and deburr it before I use it too much because I haven't done that yet. And it's probably not too bad. I haven't tried the other jaws. I haven't tried too many different diameters. I've tried about 600 gauge pin and a bit of stuff about 1.5 inches, and I got about the same results. But this was last night, and I really haven't messed with it much. So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. This is using a bit of oil, so obviously we've got a we've got a loose lock nut on the back here, so I'm going to have to go through this and sort it out. It's something we do periodically with plain bearing lathes, but because oiler glasses are a pretty good indication, I'll just move this around. Maybe you can see that. Let's turn some lights off. What's best? Oiler glasses are a pretty good indication of bearings. This one's still got oil in it, and I haven't really topped it up this week. So the back one's probably all right. The front one's probably a bit loose because we're starting to use a little bit of oil. So it needs to be pulled this way a bit. And probably the reason the front one, the back one's still okay, is that the preload bearing is still locked up. So this needs to go that way, and the preload needs to be backed off, and then it needs to be tightened up again. So it's a bit of messing around, but that's a project for this weekend. Hey Matt, it's good to see you. Front one's probably a bit more worn, but it's just one of those things. It'll be as good as new if I go through and adjust it again. But if we have a look here, I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. But this nut is actually really loose, so obviously we need to sort that out before we do too much more. So there we go. Put this around there. No one will. They're tapered bearings. They're tapered front and back cones. New belt. Yeah, always need a new belt. It'll be right for a bit. This doesn't. This belt doesn't wear very much. It lasts forever. This belt. All the belts on this machine are really fantastic. The mill belts need some work. I need to sort that out. We've got a pulley that keeps coming loose, and that's hard on belts. So adjusting the bearings on this is not a hardship really, and that's one of the reasons I wanted this to slip off, this gear cutting attachment. That all slips off the end, and then you can adjust everything up and put it all back on. So it's a job. Hang on, I'm going to cover you up again. I'll go back over here. Their C-clamp holders are kind of good, but Anyway, there we go. Hey, Matt. Good to see you. Take care, Chris. No chatter. Yeah, it's probably chattering a bit, but it's not really noticeable, to be honest. It wants fixing before I do any serious work. But cutting that cast iron for that back plate, you didn't notice it and got everything to size. So it needs to be fixed, but it's only a half-hour job and I should do it more often than I do. It's not a big deal. Someone's got patchy broadband, so have I. Anyway, so TMC 2020. What we got? A couple of new videos as far as I can see. I got an official notification from Just One Guy Metalworks, who made a brass and rawhide hammer, which was really nice, and stainless steel head. Bit flash. Good video, really. For a little channel is excellent. You should check that out. Just One Guy Metalworks. The Eddies have been using the hashtag, which makes me think that they might be going to put an entry in. He's building a coaxial indicator. There you go. There's a fun project. Hopefully we get an entry in the next couple of weeks, but it looks like he's going to struggle a bit with it. But he might be a long way in front with his work and behind with his video. So a couple of videos. I guess there's still a few to come, but we've only got 2 weeks. I'm going to do a bit of a rundown video, I think, this weekend coming. If you want to be mentioned in that, which I'm going to share far and wide, if you want to get mentioned in that, get your video out in before then. But I've been a bit slack with that, and I apologise. But I hope everyone's getting a few views off their TMC 2020 video, because it's been awesome watching them. So there we go. The bench is sort of clean. There's sort of the shape is over. If I have a look, the shape is over this way. It's clean. The oven's this way. $1,500 on Matty. I got some information from Nigel at Go Create. He looks like his video's doing okay. I'd be interested to see what Tom's does. He's been sharing the heck out of his, so probably it's a bit difficult to tell. Didn't see a video from the Necklace Workshop yet. I was fully expecting one. TMC 2020. I'm kidding you. The bench is cleaned, sort of. It's not too bad. But this place is a lot better than it was. So we kind of don't feel the pressure at all. There's don't worry about getting the video in, but Craig, that's terrible. 3 videos from Craig this week. Too clean. There's a couple of things I've been messing around with besides this. Now, put a new motor and pulley on the tapping machine, and it all ticks over beautifully. The old motor off the mill before I put a VFD on it in the 3-phase is excellent on it, and I found a pulley and a belt, and it all runs over, and it's good. However, there's some problems with the clutches, so we could probably have a look at that. Did I order some spring steel? Not yet. Not yet. So this is Let's have a look. This is the clutch assembly. It's fairly well made. It's got a bearing in here, and the inner and the outer screw in, and then these run on this assembly, which goes up and down with a yoke that fits here. Now, someone had put this bearing, which is a Hoffman, some sort of bearing anyway. I don't think it's original. And it was just loose in here, but hasn't really done anything for it because I don't think it's supposed to be there, to be honest. What I do think is supposed to be there is 2 of these springs. This one was in it, and it's been snapped here. So I think it probably should be about that long. And it's quite a soft spring. Malcolm Till, good day. Darren, good day. So I think it should have 2 of these. And I think these should go in here like this. And this, which is the cone, should have enough spring in that to hold it off until you put some pressure on the yoke and close it up, because these are pinned to the spindle, so at a specific distance. But at this point it's not working, so I think I'm going to need to make 2 springs. I don't know if they want to be much longer than that, but I think they want to be at least probably a pretty soft spring, probably 2 inches. It'd be good for them. And I think the same in the other end. Don't know which end goes which there now, but I think it at least wants to hold the weight of the clutch off, if not a little bit more. So that's another project for fairly soon, because that's all that we need to get this machine running. What diameter is the wires? About 1.5, 1.4, 1.5 millimeters. So I'll get some somewhere and I'll wind some. It's not a big deal. Unless someone's got a couple of springs that are 1.5 inch diameter and probably 2 inches long, and 50 thou, something like that, spring wire, if we're using black and white. I did measure them, Craig. I just haven't got there yet. So I would say so, Stephen. I'd say that that's what the bearing's for. It doesn't seem to fit, and there's no seals or anything on it, and it's in the top, so it's going to fill up with dirt, and it's pretty crunchy anyway. And it was loose in there. It really wasn't doing anything. It just fell out when I turned it over. Matt, I think so. The dimensions on the cones, yeah, casual seal. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a sketch, maybe. So there you go. It's probably easy enough to get. I can get it from anywhere. It's not a big deal, and I'll make a couple of them. And hopefully that'll fix the problem. But this one's the only one that's left, and I think it needs one on the bottom and one on the top. And that holds the spindle central with a little bit of a gap here so that they spin until you put pressure on the fork, which reverses the direction. So I think I've got that sorted. Car thermostat valves. Darren, yeah, that's a good thought. Lower radiator hose. It's also a good thought. It's probably a bit small diameter, but yeah, I'm thinking there must be something that has springs like that. Even like a vacuum cleaner hose or something must have a spring like that. But if I make them, they'll have like proper return ends on them, and they'll be a better job, I think. Probably not a big deal. So that's what I'm messing with at that. And that's how it works. But I don't think there's not enough weight on that spring, and probably if it was half-inch longer, it'd be enough. But it's pretty soft. And we're missing one anyway. So I make a couple of springs, I put that back together and use it. Craig, I don't think that he had worked for a bit because there was a few things that were put back together the wrong way round, and I think whoever restored it or painted it or whatever gave up on it because I noticed the handle bearing or the handle lever was in the wrong way round. It had an actual hole for a set screw to locate in, and that was on the opposite side. So, um, hey Kimber. Yeah, I understand that, Matt. It's plenty of wires, the answer. So, yeah, it's been messed around with a bit. It's not crazy hard to work out, though. So, I just need to spend a little bit of time on it and get it right. And then it might be a useful machine, I think. The theory and how it works is fairly straightforward. Malcolm, yeah, it is sort of looking great. I haven't done anything this weekend because I'm I'm having a bit of a pause and reconsider and think about it. Um, Stuart 400, crazy big engine. It's all turns over. It's got a tight spot, and I could just open this bush out and fix it, but it doesn't really fix it because when I sit down and have a good look at it, what's happening is that this bush has got an open spot on this side when it's in the front position and in this side when it's in the back position. Now, I'm fairly confident that this is square to the bore. If nothing else, I think that that's right. Now, whether it's square this way, whether the drill and the ream has wandered this way, I'm not sure. I believe this one to be square this way, and it doesn't matter very much if it's not. If this is kicked this way, it may give us this effect. I'm going to pretend it's not. What I'm going to do, I think that this crank pin may be not quite square. We might be kicking out this way. And when we move it around here, it's kicking out this way. That's what and up here it's this way. And down here it's this way. Because that's where the opening is in the bush. So, not happy with that. I'm suspicious that when I've machined this, because it was fairly hard casting and I had a bit of a mess around with it, that this bore isn't parallel to this pin. That's what I believe. Probably not the end of the world. Thanks, Kimber. Look, you could run it and it'll bed in probably, but this is going to come loose before it comes right. We might as well fix it now before we go any further. So what I'm probably going to do is set this up and remachine this pin. Now, that's not a real fun thing to do, to be honest. It's a fairly difficult thing. So what I'm going to do is make a block, I think, to clamp on the crank with the right center distance roughly, or the right throw, and then put that in the forejaw and set this up on center, and so that this runs off center. And probably I'm going to remachine that and just measure it and see how much out it actually is. So that's my thoughts on that. It might be a project next thing to do with that and get it right. Chirpy, a V-block might work. That's probably a really smart idea, actually. Probably really good idea. If we set it up in the mill even, we could probably machine it with a boring head, but I'm not. That's probably as good a way to do it too. That's probably as good a way as any. I'm still thinking about that. I'm probably going to pull it out and have a look at it on a couple of different machines and see what we can find out. Craig, thanks. They're crazy expensive, but I might look them up. I didn't even think to look there. I have a Keats angle plate, Darren. Yes, I do have one, and I just thought of that then. I actually have a faceplate to put it on. So that project's coming together. I haven't forgotten. But thank you. There's a Keats angle plate casting that come from Darren, and I still haven't machined it. Yeah, Chirpy, I'm thinking about that. It's fairly difficult to really tell, but that might be the first point, is to set it up between centers and see if I can find an error with it. I think that's what's wrong. I'm hoping that it's not a problem with the bearing this way. I don't believe it is, but it's yeah, it's a bit of a job. Well, we're still thinking about that, but these are all things that come from no, I just put another bronze bush in here, casual steel. If I made this smaller, it won't hurt. No, we'll just put another bush in there. And I'll probably put a step on the end of it, which I should have done anyway to start with. So I was tossing up whether I set that up anyway. We'll have a think about it. But next time you see this, that may be fixed. See, this is only on the wooden bench, but I don't think there's any issues there with that. It's touching top and bottom. So I really don't think that this is not parallel to the base here. So I don't think that's the problem. And I set this up, the bore up from here in a fairly rigid setup on a big mill. So I don't think that's moved, and I know that it was a fraction off anyway. and we held our breath when we bought it so that it didn't come through here, but it's come up all right, and it all turns over, and it'd probably be good enough. And if I didn't tell anyone, you would all think it was wonderful, but I'm sharing now because I think it can be fixed. But it needs setting up and sorting out properly, and we'll do that and we'll get it right. So there you go. Anyway, in full disclosure, that's where that's at. It needs some oil holes and things too. It runs reasonably well, and when I say there's a gap here, it's probably on the side of the bush here. From one side to the other, it probably moves backwards and forwards 3 thou, if that. So for a model, it's probably going to be fine, but I would rather get it fixed, and then it's going to last a bit longer. But yes, it's going to come loose pretty quick if I don't get it sorted, I think. It won't take too many runs before I've got to put another bush in it. So that's where we're at. And there's also been some discussion with a couple of people about whether a bush in here just clamped like that's the best. It seems to be tight in there, and I don't think it'll turn, but we're still working on that too. So that's going to be a bit of a kick around to get it right, and then when we can go ahead, we can put oil holes in here, oil hole in the piston so that the gudgeon pin, see, that's loose there, and it's loose here somewhere. Yeah, it's loose down there too. So, and here it's quite here it's quite firm. So I think that it's this crank, which is a fairly difficult way to make a crank that's any good anyway. So pin with a flat end through the bore. Not sure what you mean there, Mark. So apart from that, it's coming up together pretty well, and it's just a matter of fiddle, and then when I get this done and some rings on it and oil holes and things, we can start thinking about putting a head on it, which is here, ready to go. Big flats for the spark plug. And if we get that on and some valves in it, we're starting to look very, very close to having the thing finished, which would be really nice. So anyone's got any thoughts about this, let me know. It's very difficult over video to really see what the issues are, and it's a really difficult casting to set up to start with, and it wouldn't have survived as long as it did as a model from Stuart if Stuart hadn't done the bore and the bearing and the camshaft hole in the factory before they shipped them out. It would have been an impossible thing for the amateur to do on a small lathe, I think. Forget it. So, still thinking about that. If anyone's got thoughts. Oh, now I see. I see what you mean. Thanks, Mark. I'll think about that. Hey, Tinker. I'll give that some thought, actually. But yeah, I see what you mean. And probably we got a piston that's a pretty good fit in there. We could probably just put a 1, 2, 3 block on the end of it and see if we could see. That's probably a good way to check it. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Yep. Well, we'll try that first. So, anyway, this workshop's fairly clean. So let's have a bit of a tour. How does anyone feel about a workshop tour? We go hands-free for a little bit. Has anyone got a problem with that? Doesn't happen very often. You can see the mess outside the cone of cleanliness. This is my Hotshot 360 oven. Very awesome. Stands in Koski. Makes these in California. If you're interested in heat treating, that's a pretty good jumping off point, and they're an excellent oven. There you go. There's a bit of a shout out for Stan because he does some nice work. My oil pot came from Chris Biggins, Old Man Shop. I think he made that. Was part of the What's in Your Box giveaway. There's some stickers from Craig, which are probably going to get forwarded on to John Creasy. I'll post him some down. So it's a nice note there from Stephen Lang a while back. Thank you, Stephen. So this is my Hotshot 360. It gets a bit of use, but there we go. This is 240 volt, yes. Pretty good oven, actually. Really, really like that. It's a bit of an asset to the shop. It's something I use all the time. Nice drill stand. This is my Imperial drill stand. It's this is a Bakelite one. This is half decent. I really like this one. Raymond, it's cheap to run. Like, seriously, it's cheap to run. Surprisingly cheap to run. Really good. This is Boss Ice Coffee from Japan. Good stuff. If you get the opportunity to you got nice customers who want to bring you a drink, that's what you request. This is my 0 to 12.1 millimeter drill index. This plastic one's pretty crap, actually. It was a gift from a friend. It's not bad, but I'd like a Bakelite one in a metric, but it hasn't happened yet. I've got 2 steel rules here with no holes in them, so they don't hang up, so they're a bit of a pain in the neck. I've got a Nikon lens cap off something, don't know what. Frames, tender frames over there for the locomotive, and locomotive there. We've got Drillbit there, who Stewart Arts Maker of the Year 2018. That's a pretty awesome thing to get. Jimmy Stewart Arts. This is his sticker there. Go and check him out. He does some pretty cool stuff. Okay, this is the shaper. Mark Foster, how much money roughly? Good question. You'd have to ask him that. At the moment, the postage is going to hit you pretty hard. Fridge, you probably should try that iced coffee. It's pretty awesome. This is the shaper. This is a Drummond Brothers from about 1907, I think. I've got tools out here everywhere again. The Drummond's pretty awesome machine. It's pretty useful. It could do with a decent vise on it, and probably what it's going to get is a pallet on here, aluminium pallet, when we get the tapping machine going. I doubt it's going to grow any. It's 110, 115 years old or something now. So there you go. Okay, down here with all the coffee cups is our soldering gear, soldering hearth, which lifts out on the bench, and soldering equipment. This is the launch, right? Awesome. So here we go. So that's the launch. Over here, what have we got? We've got Kennedy chests that come from Keith Fenner. It's in the process of being cleaned out, so there's stuff everywhere. I've pulled stuff out of it and haven't put it back. This is a generic Officeworks chest. It's got measuring gear in it. This bench here's got projects on it. There's a bit of a work in progress, all those things. There's a launch lathe over the middle there that come from Matty's workshop. Thanks, Matt. Spray cans. What have we got? Over here, there's a drill press. And the pantograph, which needs a little bit of work at the moment. We're still working on that. We've got the tapping machine there as well. We've got, this is going to be our grinding bench. So this is brand new here. We'll move back. So put this in this weekend actually. The ultrasonic's on top of it at the moment. Usually the ultrasonic goes away over on top of the bench there. But we put the grinder in there, and probably we're going to put the D-bit grinder here beside it or somewhere. This has got a surface plate on top here. And milling machine accessories, label maker is in there for everyone who needs one. More milling machine bits, die stones, molten die stones. Oops. We're not winning here. I'm not sure I even put anything. Yeah, castings and taps and dies and things in down there that I don't use very often. So this is all fallen over here. Sorry. Really need to sort this out. So we're running into some dark over here. Sorry. I'll just turn the light on. Just talk amongst yourself, guys. Try to do this with one hand. Yay! So over here, we've got the little wood lathes in under there. And usually, this is just stuff I'll put out of the way while I'm cleaning up. Usually the shop vac sits there, which is here. But anyway, usually that goes in there. Milling machine's here. Everyone needs more drawings. Maddie, the tool chest's on sale, or it was pretty cheap at Bunnings. They were like $250 or something. So anyway, there's the mill. It's actually the cleanest the mill's been for quite some time, to be honest. And we're sort of, the phone's on charge there. DRO there. It's pretty good. More stickers over here. Who's there? Machine NZ. Who else is in the chat? Golly, who else is there? Maddie's Workshop's there. Bondi Hacks. Dale's not in today. So there we go. Hey, Joseph. And we're still working on this, but over here is my Craftsman toolbox that I brought back from America, full of tools the last batch or the one before. But that's a mess, so there we go. That's a workshop tour. Yeah, if you can travel and get one sorted out. I was really looking for something new. I need to fix this handheld thing. Don't go handheld very often. Anyway, there we go. Put that aside before anyone covets it. Hey, Dan. Anyway, that's just a rough tour. That's where we're at, and we're still cleaning stuff up. As you can see, there's still stuff going away, and we're still finding places. And it's about 2 stories tall, so there's shelves all around the top, and there's full of stuff. But I couldn't tell you exactly what is here and what isn't. And there's shelves and drawers down the bottom too. There's shelves under this bench, and there's shelves under this bench. And there's drawers and things, and it's still sort of a work in progress. But I need to get it cleaned up before we get our new machine, which is, in case anyone was wondering, the new machine's a D-bit grinder. So yeah, I can turn around from the mill to the lathe. Basically, they're about 5 feet apart. But before the D-bit grinder gets here, I really need to get everything sorted. So probably this next weekend, I'm not going to do very much either. I'm just going to spend some time giving everything a clean up. And then I really need to spend a weekend sorting out camera equipment because at the moment it's just crap. And I probably need to spend a weekend sorting this out and just getting up to speed again where I can actually make some more bits. And yeah, there's not enough weekends really. That's where the problem is. That's the situation. Yeah, the yeah, Tinker, it's up in the cupboard. We probably saw it. Actually, it's down here in this drawer. That's what I don't want to do, Alistair, because it's a pretty heavy bit of gear, I think. It's sort of, you do pretty good to get it out and put it down again. So I don't want to do that, and I want it here on the bench where I can use it if I need it at any point. So that's where we're at. And it's, there's always projects happening here. There's always stuff going on. There's always jobs to do. And you don't see all the jobs I do. Only really engineering jobs. You don't see paintings. You don't. Usually there's an easel set up here somewhere too. And quite often there's a drawing with some magnets on the wall, like above the mill or over here somewhere where I'm not where I can see it for whatever I'm working on, whether it's a locomotive or whether it's a drawing for this or whether it's just sketches or what have you. But at the moment, things are sort of in holiday mode here and everything's put away and closed down. As John says, lockdown is probably coming up here. It's going to happen in Sydney before it happens here, but it's certainly happening in Melbourne. So things aren't particularly good as far as the virus in some cities in Australia. So I'm hoping it doesn't get this way and we've got the border shut, but I'm guessing it's probably going to at some point. So right now I'm happy just to have a workshop to come home to. Anyway, I need more weekends. Um, what else was I going to say? Oh, we've got new videos. While we're on the subject, we've got new videos for the tool making competition. I've already said that. Before anyone says, I already did say that. There was one from the Eddies, or 4 videos from the Eddies on his coaxial indicator, which looks pretty good fun. Hopefully he gets a video for the competition at some point. There's one from Just One Guy Metalworks, which is a leather and brass hammer, which is really quite a nice job. And it's a good video too. That's worth watching. As far as pouring castings go, I'm really not all that enthusiastic about it. In fact, the next couple of 3 or 4 major projects that I start will have I really, to be honest, got all the materials almost to do them before I even start. So there's not going to be the hold-ups that there's been with this. This is a crazy project, and I'm looking back at it, I wonder why I even started it sometimes. But pretty big project. If you're going to build an engine, don't do it this way. There you go. Advice. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. So, Golly, John's one of the old guys. There you go. I'm single, which is amazing, really. To be honest, I have a friend who I see a bit of, and that's cool. But to be honest, it scares me a bit getting any more involved if we're going to get personal about stuff. Because I like my workshop space and I like my space, and I don't like sharing my spare time with other people. So if anything serious sort of starts looking like it's going to happen, I'll walk away. That's terrible, but single's good. Maddie's going to make 30. He's what marriages are made out of. Um, what else is happening? Not very much. I got a message from Steve Barton at Solid Rock Machine. I don't know if anyone saw some of his latest Instagram posts, but he's sending a parcel at some point, which is really nice. But he kind of promised me something a couple of years ago, and then it never really eventuated because he's crazy busy like I am. And it was a bit of a surprise to see him make mention of it again over all this time, because I would have just forgotten and pretended that it wasn't going to happen. So casual, I'm not really looking, to be honest. I'm not even particularly fussy. It's terrible, but I'm not. I really don't need. I'm not. I mean, I'd be interested in anyone, whoever turned up, in whatever you are, or wherever you are, or wherever you fit into the whole life thing. That's cool. I don't have a problem with anyone. However, at this point, I'm not looking. Simple as that. Matt is right. I'm just going to leave the things the way I am. That's awesome. Any progress on the boring heads? Boring heads. Um, I just point out here before we go any further that Warren sort of collects vintage trucks too, so he's not really single. He's sort of attached. Hey, Randy, good to see you. Carbide boring bars, haven't tried those. Really haven't. Oh, the boring bars, yeah. Now, here's a project. Let's have a look. Right, I didn't do this, but I brought a box of reamers of all sorts, like lots of metric and lots of imperial reamers, all odd sizes and half sizes, and good stuff, and a lot of carbide stuff, some high speed steel. And I paid a pretty reasonable price for them, but they were good to get, and they're all like decent, proper tolerance reamers, and they're all been looked after, and they all look pretty good. They're used stuff, but I was glad to get them. So with them were these two little boxes of bits that someone's diligently saved after a major lathe accident, I would imagine, or a mill accident. And it seems a pity to throw them out because they're solid carbide, and this one's obviously had a nasty accident. And I put a post on Instagram and on Facebook about fixing. Oh, there we dropped that one, so it's broken again. There we go. No. So I put a post about fixing them or sorting them out because they're too good to throw out. And I think I'm sort of got a way forward, but we probably need a D-bit grinder for it, and we probably need more spare time and stuff to sort them out. But they won't go anywhere. I won't do anything with them yet. So at this point, I'm not sure about that one. This one is more of a pity because this is one that I would probably use if I was in good condition. This is a solid carbide boring bar. There's some real weight in this. And this is just snapped off. And it doesn't really key together. I think there's probably a piece missing as well, to be honest, in between. So, or some chips missing in between. So, I don't know whether I actually make a piece or whether I machine it, grind a taper on this one, the taper on this one, and fit them together and silver solder them, or what I do. Or whether I just throw them out, or whether I keep the carbide to make something else out of. But it seems a pity not to sort of do something with them. But this is a nice little boring bar that I would use a lot, I think, if I had it sorted out. A couple of inserts and a wrench there for them. Heaps of room, yeah, that's right. Fit the tip into a larger diameter bar. They're all things that might work. So you're right, it won't be the same, Joseph, but at the price, it's probably worth messing around with to see how good it is. And probably I should just invest in a couple of these. But I would say that this has had a crash rather than vibration or anything like that. I think it's probably been in a boring bar and it's come around and it's caught something, or it's come out of the chuck, or a job's come out and caught it and collected it. I bet whoever did that wasn't very happy when it happened, I think. So I don't know if anything will happen. I just found them the other day when I was looking through the reamers and sorting them out. And it seems a real pity because they're top quality tools. It does seem a real pity to not have them operational, but obviously someone kept them with that thought in mind as well. But the guy I bought them off was changing careers and was no longer a tool and die maker, so probably he just gave them to me, and I'm not out of pocket on them yet. So I might mess with them and see how we go one day. So anyway, that's where we're at. I don't know if we've got anything else really to share. We've all got stuff we should let go of, absolutely. But anyway. I would say that anyone who paid for these probably was a bit upset about throwing them out too. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway. Malcolm's right too. Good night, Mark. Too cold here. The English are all disappearing. Everyone hit the like button, absolutely. Go and watch another video. If you scroll right back to the first, or if you come back and watch this video, the first comment was from me, which is the playlist. It's also the playlist for the competition is down in the description, down the bottom. You should probably go and check that out because there's some good stuff there, and I'm trying to put anything in there that looks like it might be an entry at some point. So there's 3 videos from Tommy in there. Go and check them out. They're worth a watch. The root cabbage thing. Thanks, Matt. Anyway, go and check out those videos. Leave a comment if you like on this video and tell me which video you think's the best. There's something you could do if you're watching this back through again. And we've got 2 weeks left, a bit less than 2 weeks, I think. It's almost 2 weeks. So pretty excited about that. We have to work out how we're going to present this and judge it and etc, 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 which we haven't even thought about. But the tool making competition's a thing, and there's some awesome entries, so go and watch them. Like and subscribe all those guys' videos because they've been above and beyond looking for trying to sort out, make videos for the competition. It's hard work. Anyway, probably next weekend. So I'm just reading the comments there. I've watched those, Pat. I've watched those videos. I don't know if I'm in this game, the same sort of skill set as Robin is, even with my silver soldering. He does some really nice stuff. But we'll think about it. We'll think about it. Everyone wants drawings. So I'm going to go and post on a video there. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Huge thanks for channel help and encouragement from you guys. Sorry there's no model project progress, but we have actually done something this weekend, I think. And I'm going to say I'm out. Take care and be kind to each other. And wear a mask. There you go. You heard it first here. We'll see ya. I'm out.